welcome back to Assertiveness. We are talking about abortion, and just before we went for an ad break, Pierre was trying to explain to us that as black people, abortion is something that we don't know. But my first question to you is, you say it's not something we do, so who used to do it?
Well, I think you raised the question where it's the medical practice, right?
Yeah.
So the medicinal way of doing things, I think it was more of a white practice, right? So from our side, I think it was more of, you know, this thing of so from our communities, when you are pregnant, I think that's where they didn't even allow umntwana 12 as in their decision. You have to consult the family. So baz, okay, yes, we put a but now there has to be a way with umndeni. That's why okay, wrong, but yes, she's still underage, but still there's some kind of ritual. So umntwana is always a blessing besides anything else. So now with all the information, ageless pilaguyo. So we still have options. Like you have abortion has become an option in our lives. So our girls can now make decisions with their partners, whether they underage or not. It's okay. What should we do? Morning after, whether we terminate or stuff like that. So it isn't a genre which I think from our communities we haven't really gotten holistically as an acceptance through our community. That's why sometimes it seems taboo, and it's some conversation that we can't really accept, but we actually have to entertain it because of situations that we find ourselves in.
Nosleep, do you believe a child is a blessing?
Yeah, I do believe a child is a blessing. Depends. I mean, you can't say a child is a blessing. They didn't plan for that baby.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, but I didn't want to jump down your throat when you were saying a child's a blessing. When you get raped, your daughter gets raped, comes back to you and says, Dad, I got raped and I think I'm pregnant. What conversation are we having with that child?
Well, true, but let's be honest, and I think from where I come from, it wouldn't be the first time we know of kids who are born out of rape. But I'm sure we're not saying the female, but you find in a situation where you find most of the time it's teenage pregnancy and stuff like that. But no, we rape, yes. I think back in the past, I wouldn't have much of a defense, but you understand when is that situation, obviously. They go by a special case. But in most cases, we're talking about teenage pregnancies.
Teenage pregnancies are also sometimes situations, even if they're not rape, what usually happens, and I'll tell you from my family experience, I've got cousins who had children as teenagers, and when you speak to them, they'll tell you he didn't want to use a condom. Yes, it's not rape, she consented to that sex, but he had sex with her without a condom because he didn't want to put a condom on. Do we still say to that child, this child that you're carrying, kisibusiso? Is it fair?
Well, hence I mentioned the part of the education, where right now we can't really rely to the best schools to know by a certain age act in a certain way. I mean, this is finding out black communities, and all those kind of things. The families are important. So from the age of 14, the conversation of sex should be entertained. I think but that's why we have these kind of situations where if I so our young kids, they can't even take those decisions because now they are forced because of peer pressure to have sex and stuff like that. Hence why when it comes to conversations or topics like abortion, because as now my answers now, but we just have to but that's why I said especially from the family side, not good at school. Which I think but that's way important with the family structure. That's why we have broken families. So I think that's where the stem of isn't this so cool come from, because that's where we find isn't inking they can't even actually share. Again, understand? But me, that's my 2 cents.
You know what I find very crazy is the fact that as black people, we really use the defense because we're black. As a defense or an avoidance of a lot of things. But it's crazy that now we're talking about radical transformation, economic transformation in this country. We're talking about land, and everybody's fighting so vigorously for those things.
When it comes to certain things.
But the abortion in Funushiwa, she made a mistake. Give her the options and give her the right option.
Yes.
What is a 13-year-old going to raise a child? How? They're a child themselves, you know?
I think it also comes back to as black people, pick what benefits us, you know?
Amen.
No, see, I'm black and ndifake iweave ngumzulu. Kodwa uma sengibona when it comes to abortion sekumele ngiqale manje sengikhuluma ngamasiko. Lithini isiko lami ngokufaka inwele? Angicabangi lokho ne. So I do not really think ukuthi abortion should be overrated ngendlela eyenziwa ngayo njengamanje. Ngoba for the fact ukuthi I think that's why sizigcine siba nama cases where umntana ezegcine egula okanye damage isibeletho sakhe
ayenze ama
backdoor things ngenxa yokuthi uyasaba ukuphumela obala ukuthi nansi into eseyenzekile sengisithola ngikhulelwe ngoba uzojajwa okanye uzodisowner okanye uyazi mhlawumbe ukuthi no uma nobaba will understand but ngenxa yokuthi esontweni uma nobaba you know
got a
status then they will start judging her in a way. Abortion, there's nothing wrong with an abortion, you know. It's like it's in a way, but it shouldn't be overrated. It's just a medical procedure, as we've said, of which situation that we can't afford a baby at that time, and yeah, you should. If it benefits you, I think you should do it.
Spear, what are your feelings towards abortion? Let's forget how you were raised, who raised you. Are you pro-life or are you pro-choice?
You know, so me, when it comes to abortion, I'm a bit on the fence.
Okay.
Because I think Nami, from where I stand, because at the end of the day, I think sometimes I'm a decision related to shape by because of our religious background. This we are.
We want that religious background.
You know, so language corner really.
As now kulumingala we are corner. I need you're a Christian.
Yeah.
SP you're a Christian. So yes, granted, you became a Christian, maybe based on whatever reasons you became a Christian for, but you have taken that commitment to say I'm a Christian, and you so. Let's talk about you. Let's not talk about Wuti. My mother would say otherwise. Oh, Langkulekona, they would see this otherwise. When SP were today sitting here, if it meant life or death, do you believe in abortion? Do you think abortion is something that people should look at?
No, yes, okay. I think it's something that can be entertained, but at certain levels, like young abortion, it's funny rape or but in other instances, I think we can actually come to a conversation where, say, like what she said, Mina, I don't think I'm looking at abortion as a procedure. I'm looking
How
at.
Do you see abortion?
Yeah, Mina, from my point of view, is education at for me safe sex. You understand? Or go in a conversation about sex alone. But then must say figure as a conversation go in with Mangabiense. Where do we move forward in terms of how did it happen and stuff like that. So mouth is just a medical procedure. Yes, I think as a community or as people, we can't just accept it. By the very they say corn and if see I'm going to okay, it's something that's there and it's something I advise about to I know, but it's something that as a to corn is something very I think it's something where we just have to accept as a community corn.
How old are you?
25.
25?
Yes.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I do.
If she falls pregnant, are you guys keeping the baby?
If she falls pregnant, we're keeping the baby.
Or would you prefer you keep the baby?
Well, go depend what is situation itu.
Oh, so manje hamba nge-situation manje ndaba yakho. What's happening to amasiko wakho and your background? Because she's not raped. I'm going to assume that you wouldn't have raped her because you said it should be used as an extreme option, right? And when you say an extreme option, I'm assuming you're talking about where somebody gets raped, whatever. And then you said your other statement was, let us teach people how to have safe sex. And I'm going to assume that you know what safe sex is. Right. Now, you have sex with your girlfriend. She falls pregnant. You are 25. How old is she?
She's 21.
She's 21. Do you keep the baby?
Do we keep the baby? Well, looking at the circumstances, long corner. It's funny to see some really see.
Can you afford a baby?
At this point in time, no.
So you're keeping the baby to make the baby struggle?
Well, Pella, look, I have a question of me sometimes. To your.
No, I don't want. I'm painting a picture.
Okay.
Your answer can be whatever you want it to be. I've got no gun against your head. Your answer can be whatever. Okay. What I'm asking is, you guys fall pregnant right now. Do you keep the baby or not?
Because I think...
and if yes, can you afford that child?
Okay. Can I answer it in this form? I think from my age, long corner, and I understand the kind of relationship I'm in. And in young data, I understand what's in. And that's something that I'm feel to a point where I understand what's constantly prepared for zone, and some things I know that I'm not prepared for. Okay. So we relationship here to city finding and if I find myself in that situation, obviously quite a situations where actually unprepared or very but all I'm saying is where I am right now, I am fear close situation there because of things from the and okay, this is how far I can go. But in it's a reality, something that's always that's why I'm sure about prevent and stuff like that. But I'm just saying when it comes to pushing, it's something it's so real that it's so emotional. Because sometimes young chooser, when you hear stories from back home about your keep 3 or 4, I think that's where if I tell me it mega cool because you find yes, so just a medical procedure, but to the next person, because as a mistake, I understand we not teaching behavior. Besides that pushing, you can actually do this and that. So my sex feel good conversation. I mean, I'm just saying, yes, you say call, but it's accepted. But it's something where we have to talk about it and say, well, a push.
You have diverted my question to a lot of things. You did not answer what I asked you. You've sent me there. You then sent me there, and I understand everywhere you've sent me. And then you used a response as a don't ask me this question. You are prepared, you know how you're doing your things, and then you contradicted yourself and said, but isn't the science agala? Now isn't the agala? I'm asking you today, I want to understand today. You are saying, you find out your girlfriend says I'm pregnant. Are you guys keeping the baby? You said, Batsini, isimo, so you are keeping the baby. Are you financially, emotionally, physically prepared to have a child and can raise an upstanding human being? And can stay in that relationship, because you spoke about broken relationships and broken families. And it starts off when people have children that they should not be having. That's when broken families happen. Okay. So you, as Piwe Namhlanje, would you be able to be a father?
Me, I was in honestly speaking, because I think when the question is more direct, no.
It's very direct. I'm not going around in circles.
But I can answer it like this at the same time, because it was visible within your question. And into the question would say not only about standard who plan their case, but right now. At the end of the day,
don't bring in other things. We're talking about this situation. You see, you're using other situations to divert from my question. I am asking you, Spiwe, today, if I get asked, if somebody said to me, Nicolette, today, would you be able to have a child right now? Are you emotionally, physically, everything prepared? My answer would be yes, because I am. Had you asked me 3 years ago, if I fell pregnant 3 years ago, I would not have had a child. I would have aborted that child. So that's what I'm asking you. If you were pregnant today at 25 years old, would you be able to emotionally, physically, and financially and mentally be able to support a child?
No.
Okay. That's all I wanted to ask.
Okay, no, say
And that's all I wanted to know. You know, what I just wanted to understand whether it's something that we should look at and maybe teach abortion in that manner. At the end of the day, you're saying I'm reducing it to a medical procedure. That is exactly what it is. Yes, we are not oversimplifying it and saying it's just a medical procedure on its own. But it really is a medical procedure. There's no other abortion. You're either given the pill that you put under your tongue. Yes, I know everything about abortion. You put under your tongue for a certain amount of hours. Then I think after 6 hours, you drink another package of pills, and that sheds your uterine line. You bleed it out and it's gone. And then you go for follow-ups and they give you antibiotics and a whole lot of stuff. That's the one. The other option is that they put instruments up you and they scrape the baby literally off your uterus. So there's various ways in which abortion can happen, right? Yeah. Granted, so at its simplest form, it's a medical procedure. We can't deny that fact, right? But I understand Uti Wena. There's a whole, and that's where I wanted to talk about Uti. What are some of the things that make abortion such a bad thing? And I think you touched on some of them.
Yes. I think it is I think from back home, I think my experiences are more of why in position in abortion, because we've had stories like more than 4 times, because after the first one,
contraceptive, basically.
You understand. So they just here with rays who've actually had in the toilet we found a baby fetus just in the toilet. So we talk with you understand. So they know which is that option, and they because of this procedure being available. So I think he behaves.
Just hold it there. I want to speak about that first bad thing that you talked about, and I want to ask Nosleep. Nosleep, how desperate do you think a girl must be to be aborting a child in a bathroom at a public residence? Do you think that it's something that is normal?
No. No, it's not normal. They're going through a lot.
Amen.
A lot.
Amen.
It's either they are emotionally ignored most of the times and mentally ignored. And most of the times, because a situation which would lead umuntu ukuthi a situation, it's when another party, like umuntu wakhe, is saying, maybe I do not want anything to do with this child. You know, so as a okay, this support throughout the process of creating this baby, how would my family receive me? How about my friends, the society? So they're going through a lot, and basically that's the only option they think they have at that time.
And that's what I want to drive to. My biggest problem is that people who are not in the situation, we always want to make things evil and say they have become normal. I don't think in this world there's a normal person who will sit on a bathroom floor and abort a child by themselves. I don't think so. I don't think so. That person must have been going through so much for them to get to a point where they think, this is my only option. Yeah. The girls, I mean, I have a friend who lost her life because she had to go to a back room to do an abortion because she couldn't go to the hospital that she was supposed to go to because the people in the hospital are family members or they are neighbors or they, as you said, they make the in the hospitals. She couldn't go there. She couldn't tell her mom because her mom made abortion something evil. So now you're sitting with a situation where a young girl does not have any other option. Yeah. The only other option that we're giving her is saying, have a baby that you can't afford, have a baby that you don't want. Why? Why should women be forced to have children they don't want?
I mean, what I usually say is, you know what, it all comes back to you. You must be selfish at times with your decisions. Because just like the society is going to judge you, whether you're doing right or wrong. You're going to keep that baby. You're doing abortion, so abortion. So it all comes back to you. Do a decision that you will be able to forgive yourself with, and that will benefit you. Because you can't say you're going to keep the child and go about also and so your partner. Because he could wake up tomorrow. Is that all I got say supporting Uma Michael,
How often does that happen?
You know?
Happens
quite a lot. Yeah, so it all comes back to you. Do what is best for you.
Yeah. We're going to go for another quick ad break. When we come back, I want us to jump straight into do what is best for you. But let's talk a little bit about what Piwe has brought up. There are instances where people are using abortion as a contraceptive, where it's become so easy to just say, yes, I'm not going to use a condom, and if I fall pregnant, so abortamus. So we do need to look at that. But I think that's important is that we also look at the psyche of a person who's choosing to have an abortion. But more than that, let's look beyond abortion. Let's get an understanding of what happens if you do choose to keep that baby. Is it a life that you really want to live? And also, if you do choose to have an abortion, would you be able to live with yourself? Remember, you can join our conversation using the hashtag assertiveness. Please don't go anyway.